All right, guys, Gabe Cordova here. We are going to get going Facebook Live here in a second. But while we're doing that, please bear with us. I want to hit live Facebook. Jacob Stark from our sales and marketing team, would you do me a big favor and please introduce our guest while I'm getting this going on Facebook?
Absolutely. So welcome everybody. We're really excited to share this one with you today. We today have Amy Izzo. She's team leader of the Amy Izzo group at Rossi and Taylor Realty. They're out in Indiana, correct, Amy?
Absolutely.
Yep. And a lot of you probably know Amy or have heard her speak. She's a club wealth coach, an all-around rock star. And I saw in here that you especially love to travel to Disney. Any fun stories real quick?
I do. I love Disney. Oh, there's so many Disney stories. No, I love Disney. My favorite Disney story is though is being in Disney with 5-year-old twin boys.
Oh,
As opposed to being at the happiest place on earth and just in crowds and miserable at the end of the day, but insistent that they're going to see and be happy with this parade. And I was so caught up in my own negative stuff that I didn't see this cast member like, ma'am, trying to get my attention. And finally I'm like, what? And he's like, if you would just grab your children and come with me. Fine. And I grabbed my children, and what he was doing was putting us in a special place so that we could see the parade and have a happy time. But I was so caught up in like, these kids are going to enjoy this that I couldn't even get there. And then I was like, oh, wow, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Is it the happiest place on earth or the most stressful place on earth? I don't know.
I don't know. Sometimes.
What we're talking about.
But it is my favorite. I am a huge Disney fan.
That's awesome. Well, hey, Amy, I know we're going to be digging into some ideas around open houses today. And Gabe, I know you have some awesome thoughts in there too. So are we ready to kick off?
Yeah, let's dive in because, I mean, I can be doing this for almost 20 years and as much success as I've had in teams, I suck at open houses. I think we do a couple things really well. But when I first saw and listened to Amy talk about this, I was honestly just blown away. So I would love for you to share for not just all of our FirePoint users, but just everybody who's joining in. Doesn't matter, what you're using for your technology or any of that. Like what you had to say, I think is super powerful. And I just really wanted to do what I could to help share your insight on this, Amy, because it's incredible. So yeah, let's dive in and give us a little background story because I think the story really sets up your why and what you're doing. So I would love to share it.
Yeah, sure. Awesome. So real estate is a second career for me. So I'm ending my 5th year in real estate. I got my license late in 2014. I was in corporate business for 20 years in a sales role and got really burned out there and decided I needed to leave that. And I'd go into real estate because it's so easy, right? How hard is it to show a house? Boy, did I not know what I was doing. So I hurried, I quickly got my license. I was so excited. But what I didn't think through is I live on the border. I live in Indiana, but I'm on the border of Chicago. And I grew up, born and raised in Chicago, my sphere of influence in Chicago. But I moved to Indiana in the process of leaving my job and getting my license. And although it wasn't a far move, I didn't know anybody in Indiana.
Right.
And I realized that after I was licensed. And I was like, okay, I'm licensed. Now what do I do? Oh.
Were you licensed in Illinois as well, and then you had to get a new license, or?
No. So I had never been in real estate. I'd only been in the corporate world. So I thought, well, get your license where you live, right? That makes sense. I live in Indiana now. I'm going to get my license in Indiana, but I just sort of did it all at once. And I had only been here for a few months. So I didn't know anyone except my parents. My parents had been here 30 years, but they didn't even know a lot of folks. So I woke up with a license and no idea what to do, and I didn't really know anybody. And those that I did know were in the other state and weren't at that time migrating over. So I needed a way that I could get in front of people on a regular basis and make a connection so that I could get some now business and also build a pipeline. I needed to do both. And
I just did something there that's key, right? Get in front of people and have now business, because you could have got out your credit card and bought online leads, but you wanted business now. I think that's key to what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So So my first year in the business, for the first 9 months, I did open houses every Saturday and Sunday for 2 to 3 hours at a time only. And I made over $100,000 in 9 months.
Okay, wait, stop,
I mean,
stop.
Mhm.
Back up 10 seconds. Say that again, because I want people to hear this.
So my first 9 months in the business, I did open houses every Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 3 hours each day, no more than that ever, but every weekend, excluding a few holidays. And I made over 100,000 in the first 9 months. I actually ended my year at 130,000. My first year in real estate. My first paycheck was 6 weeks into the business.
Okay.
My first buyer came from an open house.
Before you get going, guys, if you're listening to this, if you're rewatching this, whatever it is, I want you to think of any other industry that you can get into, and in your first 9 months, working 2 to 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, whatever it is, Saturday and Sunday consistently, and make that kind of money. Like, listen and take notes what Amy is going to teach you and show you. It's incredible.
And not just agents, right? But the team leaders out there, as you're hiring on new agents, this is powerful stuff as you're recruiting.
Yeah.
Well, and the interesting thing was I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just showing up. It really was, and kind of stumbling through it. And then over time, I got good at it and built processes and learned more, how to do it more succinctly. So I tell new agents, if you did this regularly, you could trip over new business. You don't even have to be good. You're just going to trip over business.
It's crazy. So what'd you do?
All right. So you want me to share let me share. Let me get in. I have some slides.
Yes, share with us.
Let me grab them. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so open houses. So what's the point of open houses? I always talk about, there's a few reasons to do an open house. It's not just for buyers, it's to obtain new listings. When you create a lot of traffic in front of someone's house or in someone's house, the neighbors get curious and they want to know what's going on. And they're not just curious about the house and what is my neighbor doing, although that's okay. They're curious about how you getting all these people into the house. I've had even where I've had only a dozen people, which I think is a low open house traffic. Even if I just have a dozen people.
Wait. What did you say?
It's low traffic.
Low traffic and how many people?
A dozen is low, but I think
right
25 to 50.
At least right now there's a dozen or more, probably a lot more than that, agents watching this going, I wish I could get a dozen people to come through my open house.
Yeah, I get it. But even if you get just a dozen, it creates some interest with the neighbors. Find interested buyers. So, and when the buyers come in, people that are shopping open houses are not shopping open houses because they have nothing else to do. They want to buy a house. They may want to sell a house. It may be now, it may be in the future, but that's why they're there. I don't go to the car lot because I don't want to buy a car. I go to the car lot because I want to buy a car at some point. So it's our job to build some rapport during those open houses and uncover what they're doing there and what their idea is and when they want to try to get into buying a house. It's a free way to build your business. I'm going to talk about some things that you can do. You can pay for some ads. I didn't know any of that. When I started, I didn't really understand Facebook. I wasn't using Facebook my first year in the business, which was just 5 years ago. And I wasn't advertising in the newspaper. I didn't have any money to get started. I had just left my job and I didn't have a reserve built for marketing myself in real estate. I had enough to get my license and join the MLS. That was it. That's what I had enough to do.
So in other words, you had the perfect scenario.
Yeah, right. So I had to make money. So to spend money, become known in the area. So I primarily did door knocking because it was sweat equity and it was free and it only required my 2 feet. So I primarily did door knocking in the beginning, and I would give out personal invitations to the open house to all the neighbors, as many on the block and the surrounding blocks as I could walk without passing out. So regardless of the weather, I live in the Midwest. It's cold in the cold months. I started in October. I door knocked in November and December and January. So, and actually when you door knock in the snow on someone's door or bad weather, they're pretty impressed.
So basically what you're saying is to make that $100,000 in the first 9 months, you didn't just sit around. You did actually treat this like a job.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Every day. I worked every day. Took 1 day off a week, but I worked every day. And I became known in the areas where I did open houses.
Yep.
So some other key things that you need to think about is signs. lots and lots of signs. So I will say, I did invest in signs. Now, we recommend at least 50 signs for every open house. 50, I know that's a lot.
Wow.
I didn't have 50, I'm just gonna be honest, to start at about 25. But still, not 3 signs, not 1 sign. You really wanna have, and I'm gonna talk about where to place them later, but you really wanna have lots and lots of signs everywhere. Large flag in front of the house, balloons,
Did you
lots of
spend
signs
money
on
like,
the front lawn.
sorry, on the signs, right?
Yeah.
I really want to kind of break this down for people. I mean, signs you can spend, $5, $10 on a corrugated stick in the ground sign, up to probably $40, $50 with a picture and metal and all that. What do you
You
recommend?
don't need all that. Just a corrugated plastic sign, open house, both sides, printed both sides. You want open house with the arrows. I usually do like a black and white sign with a red arrow so they know kind of where to go. And I do have my name and number on the sign. I don't know that that's really necessary, but it didn't cost me any extra. So it's, like Amy Izzo's open house this way, it's got the arrow and my phone number.
You can buy the
And they're just
inexpensive
everywhere.
corrugated plastic signs for this to get people in the door. You don't have to spend a fortune.
Yep. And I would say shop around, go online and shop around, shop your local printers. I shopped online, like places like signsonthecheap.com. And then I took those quotes to my local print houses and said, can you do this or can you do better? And a lot of times they will to get your business.
Amy, you mentioned that you were doing these open houses every week. When would you put the signs out? How long do you want those out for everyone to see?
So I did go out about an hour and a half before and start signs. In my area, I can't put them out the night before. So
Okay.
they have to be put up and taken down the same day. So I tried to get away with that. Well, I'll put them up Friday night for Saturday morning. It doesn't work. So it's about an hour. It's about an hour of work to put your signs up, but it's well worth it. If I'm put my signs up for an hour, I'm there for 2 to 3 hours maximum, and then I take them down afterwards. It's a 4-hour time commitment. If you got one sale with a $6,000 commission, you just made what'd you make? Two, three, $8,000 commission, $2,000 an hour. So it just depends. I mean, who makes thousands of dollars an hour?
Yep, I love it.
Right?
Cool.
So,
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
no, that's okay. Other ideas, I try to make it look like a circus because I want people to come in if just out of curiosity. So just to be curious, what is going on over there? I've also done things like special contests, like got some of the local businesses to give us gift cards or do a match. Like if I spend this at your place on a gift card, you'll match it, and then I raffle those off. People love to come in for a Starbucks gift card, a Target gift card. I don't even say the amount. Just like, come in my open house and win a Target gift card. And people come in, how do I win the Target gift card? Sign here. So they don't even know what I'm giving out. Craigslist as well, so it's free, and you can put lots of ads on Craigslist. You can do it absolutely free, and it does get people's attention. They do come in. Now that I use social media, right, I said I didn't use it at first, but it is really does make a difference. So Facebook makes a huge difference. Video is king, even better than any open house ad you could write. Getting on and doing a quick video about your open house, that you're going to be hosting it, when you're going to be hosting it, and scheduling those ads is super important.
So these are all ways you're getting people in there. In addition to the sites, these are still things that you can do to ensure you're getting that 50 plus people to your open house.
Yes, absolutely. So Instagram, so anything I put on Facebook goes to Instagram. And then I make sure it's on all the sites, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, it's on everything. We now circle prospect, so we'll call. It doesn't mean we don't door knock. We do door knock, but we'll also call because we can reach more people on the phones than we can on our feet. So we usually will door knock 2, 3, or 4 blocks around the house. And with a special invitation, we usually tell the neighbors they're invited for the first hour, just especially for them. People love a special invitation to a party, and that's what it is. I'm giving you a special invitation to a party to see what your neighbor's doing down the street. That gets a lot of people's attention. And people that own houses are going to want to sell them at some point. So all I want to do is get those folks in my database, even if they're not ready right now.
So that's a good point. So you're putting everybody into your database, into FirePoint.
That's the key. Everybody registers, and everyone goes into the database. Everyone goes into FirePoint.
Awesome.
Afterwards.
Amy, on the social, are you doing that kind of during the week leading up to that weekend, or are you doing it the day of? What's your timing there?
That's a great question. I start social media usually Wednesday around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and I run it through after the open house ends, so a few hours after.
Yeah.
I may even run it like Sunday at midnight. If I'm doing Saturday and Sunday, I may even run it Sunday at midnight, because I want people that missed it to see it and maybe comment or click on the link and go to my website.
Yeah. And you say video is king. Any just quick pointers on what kind of video? Like, what are you saying in the video?
So I don't know that I'm very eloquent. I'll just be honest. I just take my camera. I don't have any fancy equipment. I use my phone, and I have a little gimbal I picked up that's not real expensive, and that wasn't really expensive. And I just keep it so I get a little stabilization, and I just do a quick, hey, this is Amy Izzo. Join us at 13101 Waterleaf this Saturday from 2 to 4. You've got to see this amazing house. The kitchen is to die for. Just I give them a little bit. I don't give them, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but I don't give them price. I don't give them number of bedrooms. I don't give them number of bathrooms.
Why?
Because I want them to come. I want them to call me, or I want them to come to the open house, one of the two. I give my name and number, and I don't do a tour of the house. Realtors, stop doing a tour of the whole entire house for an open house. That's not what you want to do, because why do they need to come out? You just gave it to them on their phone. They can watch it 1,000 times. I'll either be in front of the house, or I'll highlight one really cool feature of the house, and I may tease them about another one that I'm not going to show them.
Yeah, I think that is so key right there. I think sometimes we, in the idea of providing great service and being amazing, we're overdoing it and allowing people to disqualify whether they want to see this home or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just want to get them in. So don't get stuck in analysis paralysis, right? So just do it. Just do some action. Even the worst action, like sometimes I think, wow, I just did a terrible video. I just shoot and go. I don't watch them. And if I make a mistake or I stutter, that's me. I'm being authentic. That's who I am. Somebody might not like that. That's great. But the ones that do are going to come out. They're going to call me. They're going to come work with me. They're going to know I'm human. I'm not a big, scary realtor.
I think that's awesome. Hey, before you go on that, Amy, I was going to show,
Sure.
I think I can do this. So one thing, I think it'll stop your screen share, but I'm going to share something real quick, and you might have to
Here, I'll start
again. But I'm going to, let's see. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we got you.
So again, talking about going in, something, guys, leverage your technology to get people in the door. So one thing that we love to do as well is come into your database. So if Amy's doing an open house, let's say it's $350,000, search your database, put a parameter around it, maybe 50 grand on each side, put in that city where that open house is going to be. And what you do is you go and reverse prospect your database. Find people in your database that are looking in that price range, in that city or neighborhood, whatever it is. And now you can invite them to your open house. Now you're inviting people who are literally looking in that neighborhood, in that price range to come in. And hopefully I can pull this up while I'm also sharing video and doing the Zoom. But it'll come in, here we go, like 628 people that are looking in that price range in that area. And you can see how active it is if you want to filter it down or drill it down by activity. But what I do is look at this. People looking in this neighborhood 4 minutes, 11 minutes ago. Come on down. You can just quickly select all. And then, like Amy was saying, video is king or queen. Come in, throw a bomb video to them, inviting them to that open house. This is where, you can talk to them about it, tell them what it is, but it's another easy way to insert technology and reach people who are thinking real estate in that area, in that price range. So don't forget to leverage your technology to also help get those people in the door. So.
Yeah, and I learned that from you. I learned from you, Gabe, even to send out the wide save searches after these open houses, and it really does make a big difference. It gets more engagement than just, in the beginning, I don't even know that I was sending save searches. Yeah. In the beginning, I wasn't, unless they specifically told me what they wanted. And then I think I heard you speak and say, well, you know what they want because they're in the house. Right? Oh, duh, they're in the house. So I'll just send them houses like this in the area, and then I'll tack on to each side of the price range. And it really does get engagement, even if the engagement is, I don't want all this, can you give me less? Great, because now we're talking. And so I've been saying it ad nauseum, and now my agents are doing it because they've heard you say it. So
Well, let's jump back into your PowerPoint because we're going to get to the end of the open house. I'd love to hear your follow-up and what you're doing and share
yeah.
post open house follow-up.
Okay. Okay. So so you gotta choose homes in neighborhoods that are connected to other neighborhoods and or intersection shopping. The problem a lot of times when we start open houses is we don't always have listings to do it. So I always say that's not an excuse. Borrow somebody else's listing. As a new agent, I didn't have any listings and I don't even know how to get one. So, but there were other agents in my office. The top agents in my office when I started didn't want to do open houses.
Yeah.
They were really against them. So I just offered to do them every weekend.
Well, and I think, truth be told, aren't agents a lot of time, at least still on our team, they're looking and wanting agents to host open houses. Because if you have 10, 15 open houses, you can't do 10, 15 open houses on Saturday and Sunday by yourself, and your sellers still want them. So I think there's a ton of opportunity there if agents just look for them.
There is, and I will say this too. I've even called agents of competing brokerages and gotten permission. Obviously your broker's got to be on board with that to make sure you're doing all the right things in your area. But I've not ever had a listing agent not happy to have me sit open for them.
And is that because you were wanting to get exposure? Were you saying become the expert and get known? Is it because you wanted in that neighborhood, in that price point, or?
For me, it was price point. There was either a specific house at a specific price point that I wanted to get into, and I needed to get those buyers. I needed to put myself where those buyers are. So open houses is a great place.
Right.
The other thing that is also that you can also do, which I am really a big proponent of, and I know a lot of agents are afraid of this, is call your for sale by owners. Call those FSBOs. Don't ask for the listing. Everybody else is. So call, get the appointment to see the property, and when you're out there, offer to do an open house for them for free. Follow the rules in your area around that, but you can do this. There's always a solution. So you can get permission from the FSBO. You can hold open for them. And it's really a win-win situation for them and for you. For them, you create traffic because you know how to do that. And that's not their full-time job. That's not their expertise. For you,
Amy, but why would you want to help a for sale by owners sell their house if you're not the listing agent?
Well, why not? Because so what? So worst case scenario, Gabe, is they sell the house to somebody else that doesn't have anything to do with you or me, right? Yep. But I picked up 8, 9, 10, 20 leads. Right. These are all potential buyers who also may have something to sell, that now I get to go earn commissions on. And that's what I tell the for sale owners always ask me, why do you keep offering to do these open houses? Why do you want to do that? It's a win-win. There's only one house, so there's only one buyer. That's it. But if I get 12 or 20 people to come through, then I've got 11 or 19 people that can't have that house because only one can get it. So I want to find them houses.
I love that so much. When you said that the first time, that really hit me, and it hit me again today. Like, it's one for sale by owner and there's one buyer who's going to buy it. How many people will come through? Like literally all the times I've spoken to agents and done this myself, and I've never thought about it like that. But when you say it that way, it resonates. There's so much opportunity there.
And I have done it for expires and cancels where I've done like a one-day listing just to earn their trust and show them what I can do. Sometimes they want to sell, but they're nervous they've had a bad experience and they're nervous, and so I'll say, well, let me show you what I can do. Let me hold open for you. I actually did it. I was trying to get into a neighborhood around $700,000 first year in the business. I didn't have any $700,000 sales. My brokerage did, but I didn't. And I met a for sale by owner that had been trying for a long time to sell their house, and like 8 months. And every time, and I would go in there, I would call them and ask for an appointment. Could I bring a buyer through? And I would bring people through, but I wasn't selling it either. And finally I said, let me hold open for you. Let me do a wine and cheese event in your neighborhood. It was like kind of a cool neighborhood, and neighbors all like to get together. And I kind of knew that from being there all the time. So I said, let me do a wine and cheese event. I promise I'll leave your house cleaner than when I got there. And they did. They let me do it. We had all the neighbors in. We had a lot of outside folks in too. We actually found a buyer for them, and they went ahead after the open house. They were so happy with the traffic, they just listed it with me. I didn't even have to ask. They asked me. So that was awesome. And then a week later, someone who had come through the open house called me with a reference to a friend in California who was looking to relocate, and they bought the house. So but it was through that neighbor network and the wine and cheese and, the building the rapport with the neighborhood and inviting them with the special invitation and those kind of things that got them to go, oh, yeah, you know what? I have a friend that might like this house, even though they lived like 3 doors down and for 8 months, 6 months knew these people were trying to sell their house, never connected the two.
I love
So,
that.
we were able to help make that connection. So that was awesome. And those folks were trying to retire to Arizona. That was their dream and actually got to do that. And I'll tell you what, I will tell you the rest of the story. It gets a little sad, but this is where we have a lot of power as realtors to help folks make their dreams come true. I really believe in that because these folks were retired. They were trying really hard. They really wanted to move to Arizona. They had a specific place they wanted to live. They got to do exactly what they wanted to do. I got to refer them to a great agent in the area. They got to live in their new house for 2 years. And unfortunately, the husband, who had been a perfect picture of health, passed away. And now, and of course, the wife was widowed. And while that's a sad story, the exciting part of that is they got to do it. They got to do their dream before he passed. And they might not have gotten there as quickly if we hadn't connected and I hadn't had the courage to knock on the door and just ask. All they could have said is no.
Yeah.
So I just like to say that. So we have a lot of power to help people make their dreams come true.
Very cool. Love. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Okay.
So for sale by owners, don't be afraid. Love it.
Don't be afraid. So, okay. So those are kind of the concept or things that we need to do to have a successful open house. This is kind of the timeline now. So if you can plan your open houses 2 weeks before, you want to do that. If you can, and you know what, if you wake up and you only have a week, then do this in a week. You can. But 2 weeks before, you want to be selecting the target home, videoing the home, getting it posted on Facebook, on your YouTube account. Tell the who, what, where, when, and why for the open house, but we're not giving out, too much extra information. Introduce yourself, give the address, the day and time that you're going to be there. You can do a sneak peek of the home, like I said before, but not the whole house. And you don't have to spend a lot of money. If you have no money to spend, let's start there. I have no money to spend. Put it in Facebook Marketplace and put it on the community groups that allow it. Garage sale groups, things like that. People in there want to buy houses. So, and they know somebody that wants to buy houses. So you can start there. If you have a little bit of money to spend, you can do $5 a day. It doesn't have to be a lot to promote your Facebook ad, and you will get a lot of attention from that. When we I always door knock and hand out invitations. So when we door knock, we tell the neighbors you're invited to the first hour of the open house. The recommendation is 500 neighbors get invited. So as many as you can door knock, and then circle prospect, call the rest, and let them know that they're invited to come to the open house. If you want to put a theme, put a theme. If you don't want to put a theme, that's okay. But if you do a theme where wine and cheese or something like that, always get permission from the seller, and make sure that you leave it better than you found it at the house. Get your lender and business partner to support you. If I have no money to spend and I want to do something, I want to have coffee or donuts, or I want to do whatever, get your lender involved. They're going to do the loans for these buyers that you're going to pick up. And they're more than happy to not only fund it, but they're more than happy to sit open with you a lot of the time.
I think that's a big one right there. In fact, I think that's a lot of what I'm going to be talking about at BSM next week in Anaheim with Club Wealth, is creating a vendor program. Like, agents, if you're listening to this and you don't have the money to do this, to buy signs, it's really a limiting belief and an excuse. There are lenders out there that are hounding you when you get your license and title people to take you to lunch. I say, screw that. Say, partner with me, help me build my business, partner with me to do open houses, lead generation, whatever it is. I think that's a key part that people didn't think they could bring in just to the open house alone.
Yeah, absolutely. We've lots of success with that. Let's see. Week before, you're making sure that it's in the MLS, your open house, on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. We're not sharing the Fatal 4. We're not sharing price, square footage, bedrooms, baths. We want them to call us and the open house, or both. That's what we want them to do. And I just gave a little script of what I say, when we door knock or when we're calling. Nobody is offended to be invited to a party. That's what this is. You're invited to the neighbor's house, right? To see the neighbor, know some neighbors, and to a party. We're gonna have fun. You're gonna see this great house. We're gonna have some fun together. So nobody's offended. Don't be scared. 3 days before, start running your Facebook ads. You don't need to run them any sooner than that. You can target the neighborhood on Facebook. You can target zip codes. So just, I know that's changing all the time, but just kind of keep up with that. And it does work. And I usually run it, like I said, till after the open house is over. I talked about all this. Open house registration, open house kit. You want to have registration forms with you in case your technology fails. I like to have like an Open House Pro, or Spacio is another one, some kind of a system where they can just log into the open house on the iPad. I find that people on the iPad give better and more information. I don't know why that is, but I get more correct information when they type it in. But if the Wi-Fi goes out, I just can't figure out how to work it that day, whatever, I have the registration forms. And I tend to do individual forms. So it's kind of like a contest entry, so that they're filling in, they're answering a couple of questions about the house and giving me their information. Have your business cards there. I don't like to have flyers or specs on the home. I like to say, oh, you know what, I can email that to you. Let me get your email address again. Even if I have to jot that down. So I purposely don't bring information to hand out.
Yep, that's key.
Except a business card. So let's see. Uh-oh, I went too far. Sorry, guys.
You're good.
Okay, day of the open, dress for success. This is a job interview. So you have to think about everybody walking through the door potentially will work with you in the future. Everybody registers, everybody goes in my database, and everybody is a potential client. So I want to look really good. I want to blanket the areas with signs, 50 plus if I can, including all major intersections. Half of the signs, it says should have the street address on them. I do find that helps. Especially the farther you get away, if you can get them where you can write them in. Half of the signs should be directional with arrows pointing in that direction. In the beginning, all I had was directionals. So you do what you can do with what you have, add to it as you have a little bit of money to spend and as you can do more. But don't not do it because, oh, I can't put the street address, or I don't have 50 signs, I only have 20 signs. Just do it with what you have and then add to it over time. In front of the house is really important. Lots of signs in the lawn, big flag if you can, balloons if you've got to go really low, low cost. I don't care if you blow them up and tie them and they're not helium balloons and they're just tied to the lawn signs or they're tied to the mailbox, take them down afterwards. But you just want to make it look like something's going on in front of this house. So you want to create curiosity for people driving by and people that are in the neighborhood. Another thing you can do, if there's a lot of other homes for sale in the area, especially if they're vacant, this looks really much better if they're vacant. I call the other agents in the area to let them know I'm going to be holding open. And some people go, oh, now they're going to hold open too. So what if they do? But most of the time they don't. Trust me, most of the time they don't. 5 years of doing this. Most of the time they don't. But if they do, that's okay. But what I say to them is, I find out if the property is vacant or not, and confirm that. And then I say, great, I may want to set up some last minute showings. If they don't like my house, I may want to walk them over and show them yours. Is that okay? So, and kind of get them prepared. I've even had them where they said, oh, seller's gone all weekend, that's fine. If you have a last minute showing, just put it in the showing request and then go over and do it. So they're ready to approve those for me. So it's almost automatic. And if I don't sell this house, I'll sell that house. And just other kind of housekeeping things are arrive early at the home, kind of lock yourself in, prepare the home so people aren't coming and bothering you, and you can get it laid out the way you want it to be. If you can do a giveaway, that really helps with the registrations. I usually have a welcome station as close to the door as I can, so that the first thing that people are doing when they come in is they see me, they're registering, and then they get to kind of walk around the house. I talked about not bringing flyers to the home. And then, if you have unique selling propositions in your business, like we have a VIP buyer program that we do. If you have something like that, know what your USPs are and be ready to talk about those with buyers and sellers so that they know that you've got some uniqueness that someone else in the area may not have. And they want, they want more from you. They want you to follow up with them. They want more from you. You can do refreshments or not. I've done cookies, cupcakes, things like that. I get sometimes you get pushback Oh, I don't want to register. No, I can't. I just say seller requires us to register, just so that they make sure they know who was in the home, just for safety purposes. And most
I
people
love
won't
the tip
say
of
that.
the three dummy names. I love that when you're talking about that too, because nobody wants to be the first person.
Yes. Yeah. And then always, if you have a paper registration with multiple lines, always fill out the first line or two. I'll do a past client's name, something like that.
The
My
best
kid's
dummy
name.
name to put on there to start off with, put Jacob Stark. It's a perfect dummy name.
No one wants to be first, right? Who wants to be first on the dance floor, right? Nobody wants to be first. If you're doing the individual registrations, have a few already filled out, and in there you want to be first. I'm not surprised, Gabe. If you're doing like a drawing, they'll have some kind of in there already. Just fold it up in there already. They could say Santa Claus. It doesn't matter. So nobody wants to be first. So let's see. During the open, this really helps if you have somebody there with you that can help you watch the registration table and get everybody to register, especially as you get a lot more people coming through. But during the open, you want to kind of stay with the buyers, but not stay on the buyers. So you want to let them explore so you can hear them and even kind of see them, but you don't want to follow them around. And then you want to kind of listen to what they're saying and what they're talking about so that you can try to build some rapport. You can use Ford. So to build our rapport, talk about family, occupation, their dreams, things like that. What are the things that are important to them? And then listen to what they're saying about the house. When I wonder if there's a water softener. I wonder if this is the refrigerator stays. I don't answer them immediately because I don't want them to know I'm listening. But then as they come around, I'll give them some information about the house and I'll answer their question. So it's really not, they don't connect the dots that I heard them all of the time. So once in a while, but all the time they don't connect the dots that I heard them. And I kind of set it up when people come in, I let them know, I welcome to the open house. I let them know first we're going to register if the seller requires that. Then you're going to take a look at the house, and then at the end, when you're finished looking at the house, you're going to come and talk with me, and I'm going to answer any questions that you have. So I'm taking control. They kind of know how it's going to go, but they can go on their own. I'm not following them around. I'm not making them nervous. And then I'll capture them, again for some conversation before they leave. I got them when they came in. I'll get them a little during their tour, and then I'll capture them at the end to make sure that I leave the door open, that they know I'm going to follow up with them. And if I can, I'm going to find out if they have an agent and things like that.
Amy, I'd heard the tip before. Someone said, always make sure there's one question you don't know the answer to, even if you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you use that strategy?
Yeah, I do. I do use that strategy. Usually if there's, in our neighborhoods, we have a lot of HOAs, and so they'll want to know about the covenants or the rules. So I always say, oh, let me check that. Can you have a fence here? I'm not sure. Let me check that. Let me get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of new construction here, so people always want the spec sheet on the house. And as I always say, oh, I don't have it available, but I can email that to you. We only have that electronically available.
Yeah, that's good.
And that works. So make sure that I can get their info. If I didn't get it or I didn't get it correctly, I'll get it updated before they leave. So if you conduct a drawing, you want to do that after the open house on a live. That's how I like to do it. So
Facebook Live?
On a Facebook Live, yep. And I try to do it when I'm at the house. So I close down the open house, I do the drawing, I get on live, I do the drawing, and then I make sure I follow up with that person, obviously, but then I'll post that they won, and then I'll either try to get them to pick it up or I'll deliver it, and then I get a picture of delivering it to them or them picking it up. So, and it's just about engagement. So, and then you want to get, what happens over time is as you do all these different things, you have the same open houses, right, over and over, not the same, different houses, but you have open houses every weekend, and you do the same kinds of steps over and over again every weekend, and people get to know that this is what you do in the area. So now they're looking for your open houses. I had a lady follow me around at open house for 2 years. I didn't know what she was doing. I'm like, she's never going to buy herself anything. She just likes to come to open houses and eat donuts and cookies and have a bottle of water and try to win Target gift cards. But she eventually did what I actually ended up doing 3 transactions with her. I ended up selling her house and then selling her 2 different homes. So just and those were fun because it was come list me, come help me buy. I didn't have to work for that at all. The work was all the open houses. So I do have some safety stuff I like to talk about. I always say never conduct open houses alone. Now I'll say I believe in that. Have I ever conducted them alone? Yes, in neighborhoods I'm really familiar with, I have. But I try to make sure in that case that friends and family know where I'm at. They're checking on me. I'll tell the neighbors, the two neighbors on either side and across the street and behind, hey, I'm doing an open house. Will you keep an eye on things for me? People are happy to do that. So, and they'll usually come visit you too. So I've had neighbors make me tea, check on me, bring me coffee. It's great. Just because I told them I'm going to be here alone for 2 hours, and which just keep an eye on things. So they're happy to do that. But I try to get a lender or another agent or someone to do them with me when I can. Keep the home locked up during setup. Make sure you know your way in and your way out of the house. So get there early and go explore the house if you don't know it, and know your way in and out. It's just for safety, and it's important. Make sure fences aren't locked, things like that. I keep my cell phone, car keys, and house keys with me all the time, or I'll keep the house keys in the lockbox. But my personal stuff I keep with me, and ladies, keep your purses in your trunk of your car. So, and lock your car. Even in the best neighborhoods, lock your car. Kids fool around, they open the car, they steal things. You don't want to have anything unsafe happen, and there's a lot of that goes on. I know, and I think Michael Hollickson teases me about this. Yes, I do have, my lender gave me this. I do have like weapon jewelry and little like things if I need them, and they're legal. Make sure they're legal. But do have things if you need them. So do have those things available. After the open house, just leave the house better than you found it. Lights off if they're supposed to be, alarms set, especially if you're borrowing somebody's listing. If I borrow Gabe's listing and then I leave the lights on and I don't set the alarm, I'm not borrowing anything from Gabe again.
No, because you're the seller and have to deal with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, or even for my seller, I don't want to disappoint them or somebody else's. Lock the doors that were locked, but if something was not locked, please don't lock people out of their houses. That garage door to the house, people don't lock that usually. So if it wasn't locked, don't lock them out of their house. The most important thing is the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. So I talked about making sure the raffle winner gets their prize, posting that for engagement, sending a video text to each attendee, thanking them for attending before you leave the open house. Now I love, Gabe, do you want to talk about that now? I love the mass video.
I mean, no, I mean, that's a great opportunity. I mean, Jacob and I just got back from NAR, and not even just NAR, any conference, guys. We know video is king. Video is king. This is a great opportunity to use video and text and or email, but I love the text. Get into your system, whether it's FirePoint or whatever it is, send a mass text. You've got everybody, get them in your system and do that quick video. Like, hey, Gabe Cordova here. Thanks for stopping by, 123 Briar Street. It was great meeting you, whatever it is, and hit them right off the bat. They saw you, you're still in the home, and you can do that from your system. So it's one to many, right? You don't have to call them by name. You just saw them, and you're going to take it even further. But I think that mass text with video that you send from your system, so it's easy, is key.
I actually love that because we've been doing them more individual, and I like doing the mass, just having one, doing the mass, and then spending more time on the IDX search.
Yes.
So that because otherwise you're spending a lot of time on both. But I think the really powerful thing here is this IDX search. So anybody that came through there registered is looking for a home. So setting them up on that wide search for the type of home that they came to visit that you held open in the price point that you held open in, but adding 50 or 100,000 to each side. So they're getting at least 200 homes coming to them or more. So the more I can send them, unless I got real friendly with them and I know specifically what they want, I'm going to send them a really wide search, even if it's just to have them tell me it's too much and that's not what they want. And then I can,
right? I mean, if you didn't get a chance at the open house, and by sending them on that wide search, you're really asking them to reply and go, hey, Amy, thanks so much, but we're really actually looking over here. We happen to go through that open house because we're on our way somewhere else. So just getting them to engage you is just them giving you permission to provide service.
Absolutely. I love that. So, and that's powerful. So if that's the call that I get or the email that I get, that's a great one because now I know exactly what I can help them with. and I'll direct them that way. And then calling everyone within 24 hours of the MLS IDX search. We do follow up aggressively. So the day of or the day after the open house, if I have an address for them, or if I know they're a seller, they will get a handwritten card in the mail. So we put that in the mail right away. We use our tax record to look up somebody's name just to see if they own a house or not. It's real easy to do. It's not that time consuming. And we can send something in the mail to them. And most people don't get anything in the mail but junk mail and bills. So when they get a really nice, pretty card from my team, they're impressed. So we do that. We call the next day after the open house, we text, we email, and we do the IDX search. And then we continue to do that 3 months past, for 3 months after the open house, and then they go on drip campaigns.
That's awesome. So on that call too, just I love having a reason for the call. So like to me, that ties in with the MLS search above. And when you add that big span, like Amy was talking about, it gives you a point to your call. Hey, Amy, Gabe Cordova here, just following up. Thanks again for coming by the open house. Want to see if you received the listings I sent. Can I make some adjustments to that? Because I'm not sure where you're looking or how much. Right? It gives you a reason to that follow-up call. So it's not so much a sales call more than a service call. So I love those two together.
I talked about I think I talked about most of this already. Thank you card, just making sure. Oh, if you held open for another agent, send them an email. It doesn't take that long, or a text, and give them the stats. So 2 agents came through, 4 potential buyers came through. This is how much traffic you had. Agents are afraid to do that. Well, why are you afraid to do that? This agent let you hold open for them. Give them something to tell the seller. Here's what people said. They loved everything, but they wish the cabinets in the kitchen were, white. So whatever. What couple of things did you hear that you can share that they can now easily give to their sellers that shows their sellers? Number one, there was traffic, so it wasn't a waste of time. People had an opinion, and here's what it was. And there may be a potential buyer or two. So, or not. So whatever it is, just give it to them so that they can give it to their sellers. And then you build that relationship so they want to work with you again.
Awesome.
Then rinse and repeat. 4 to 6 open houses or more a month consistently. That's the hard part here. Consistently. You have to do them. So is there ever a Sunday I don't do an open house? Yes, there is. I'm not doing one this Sunday. I'll be on a plane to BSM, to Club Vaults BSM. I will not be doing an open house this Sunday. We will be doing one on Saturday. So there are times that I don't do them, but consistently throughout the year, as much as possible, is Saturdays and Sundays. It's 2 to 4 hours of your time maximum, and it can make you a lot of money.
Well, and Amy, I mean, let's be honest about this, right? You've been doing it consistently, so you don't have to be as consistent on that. So, but when you started, you didn't have the money, you didn't have the sphere, you were consistent, and you got the benefits and the results of a 6-figure income in 9 months. But it was because you were consistent, and that helps you build your pipeline.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know somebody asked about the presentation, but you have a checklist. Jacob's going to put up, I think, a way you're willing to share your open house checklist and all that with everybody, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
So,
yes, I'm willing to share the checklist.
Yeah. So, and does the checklist basically cover everything that we went over in the presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, Scott, I know Scott, if you're still on, you were asking for that. Jacob's going to put up a number here for you. You guys just, if you guys will text us your name and email address, we will shoot you that checklist that Amy's put together. And Amy, I mean, you're a coach with DSM. I mean, this is just one thing that you have a wealth of knowledge. People can reach out to you as well if they want to talk to you about, coaching or other stuff. I mean, I've seen you all over the place. I'll see you next week in Anaheim, but you have a ton of information to share with people, right?
Absolutely. Always happy to share. I am a coach with Club Wealth, and I'm always happy to share and to help and give information about the program, or just answer any basic questions anybody has.
There we go. I think Jacob has a number up now. So
if I can do this, anybody can do this. I mean, I started in this business, and I still tell people, I still say, people cringe, some people will cringe when I say this, I'm not a salesperson. That's what I tell people. I really am not. I'm just in the business of helping people make their dreams come true. get the house that they want to get if they never thought they could get a house, or get into retirement, or invest in real estate, or whatever their that dream is around that biggest asset they own. That's all I'm in the business of doing, is helping people. If I can do this, anybody can do this.
I love that. And is that your quote or is that from somebody else? I'm not a sale. Is that you?
I don't think it's just me. I mean, and sometimes I get criticized. People will say, "Don't say you're not in sales," but I really don't view myself as a salesperson. Do I study sales? Do I understand some sales techniques? Yes. Am I the best at all of them? No, I'm not. Am I good at some of them? Yeah. You know, but what I do right is I'm consistent. I'm consistent. I'm consistent. Whatever I do, whatever I commit to, I do it. And I do it consistently, and people see that, and it brings business.
I absolutely love that. I think that's key. Consistency in just about anything we do in life, right? Whether it's sales, real estate, whatever is key to make that all happen. So I love it. Well, Amy, thank you so much. I'm gonna any departing wisdom or anything to share with everybody?
No, I would just say just take action. Just don't overthink it. Just take action. Just get out there and do something. You know, just get out there and do this. Go try this. And you got to try for 30 days, guys. You got to try at least for 30 days. You can't just try one weekend and you don't get, nobody comes through, you know, and oh, the open houses are terrible and then Amy doesn't know what she's talking about. You got to try this for at least 4 weeks, at least 2 open houses a week, especially if you're not doing them. Get yourself doing them regularly, consistently. You're going to have, you know, the one where you don't get as many people or a person. If you got one buyer from every open house and that's all you got, you make thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Thousands of dollars.
I love it. I think that's
Amazing.
key.
Thanks
Awesome.
for having me.
Thank you so much for taking the time out, sharing all this. We'll get that information to everybody. And I will see you next week at BSM.
Yeah.
Do you know, are there still tickets available?
I think that we have a wait list now. So, but that's okay. If you want to get on the wait list, just clubwealth.com/BSM. Just go out and get on there, or reach out to me. And we'll get you on the wait list, or if we have any tickets open up, we'll get you in. It's an amazing event. You got to get there. If you have never been to a Club Wealth event, get to a Club Wealth event. They're amazing.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again, Amy. Take care, everybody. If you want that information, just text us your name and email address to the number. It's in the chat panel. And I think somebody put it in the Facebook Live group as well. And we'll get all that information to you. So take care, Amy. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks so much. Have a great day, everybody.